Ou deixa sua bunda ardendo, ou dá tapa, 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 cara.
Welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now, exploring your inner authority. I'm Michelle Jones.
And I'm Scott Collins.
And this is the place to connect with your highest, most essential self, your most empowered self, where you can explore your inner authority and learn from others and learn more about yourself.
We talk with fascinating people from all walks of life about transformation, healing, hypnosis, astrology, physical experience of being human, and heart-centered living.
We're so thankful that you're here with us. Let's dive right on in. Hi, and welcome to Empowerment Unleashed Now. I'm Michelle Jones, and I'm here with my soulful co-host,
Scott Collins, what's up?
hello, and our dear friend that we have now been with. This is our third time. We were together once in person at Unite the Light, and we interviewed Mike Murphy early on when we began our podcast, probably about 35 episodes ago. So Mike Murphy, thank you for being with us today. Woohoo! Waves of love and light for Mike.
Oh, thank you for having me. I think I was episode 1 or 2, so you're up to 35. So
This is episode 38. So we're at episode 38, and this is, today we're going to talk about nurturing and loving your soul's sacred home. Cancer season, and it's Jupiter's call to care and the creation frequency within us. So, welcome, friends. Welcome, listeners, to Empowerment Unleashed Now, where our embodiment is going to meet some energy today and healing can become holy. And we're going to just get down and talk about some of the work that Mike is doing at Mountains of Hope and also about the creation frequency. Because I would say that today's conversation is going to be super resonant because we're talking about coming home into the body, right? And activating our emotional intelligence, learning how to manifest from a place of care, clarity, as well as our soul alignment. And I think that during Cancer season, which fellow Cancerian in the house, sign of like nourishment, intuition, also sacred protection. That's something that I've been learning about my own sign right now. And as Jupiter begins to transit through Cancer, we're kind of invited into a deeper truth about ourselves, that your capacity to actually care for yourself directly impacts your capacity to create your life. And today's guest embodies all of that integration, right? That's what Mike is doing and living. And as I said, Mike is the author of The Creation Frequency, as well as the founder of Mountains of Hope, which is a transformational retreat. And I'm going to let you describe it, Mike, but I've been trying to explain it to people because it is such a world-class and unique healing space. And as someone who had to kind of put her own healing together from like a Chinese food menu, like a la carte, had there been your place, it would have been where I went. And I would say that what Mike does is he teaches not just how to heal, right? With his staff and, his medical team, as well as his staff. They have a farm there. They're growing, I think, over 75 plants on their finca. But also, I think that there's a process of a learning of how to actually manifest your deepest desires from like a heart-centered, soul-aligned place. Because it's really where healing has to happen, or anything in our lives. And I think that the frequency of love, wholeness, and I would say just having been with Mike a couple of times, that he's a truth seer and sayer. And I am just so thankful that we can do this today with Mike. And Mike, the first question that we ask everybody is, what are you feeling most empowered about in your life right now?
great question, because I just went through a major shift. So in building Mountains of Hope, which I've been doing it for a long time, has been a big challenge because of a different country, different culture. extremely different work ethic compared to Americans and Colombians, the laws, and I don't speak Spanish. And so it's been a great challenge. And I just lost my general manager, who I love immensely. And she's a medical doctor, and she was running my business. And she ran into some personal issues and resigned. So that really, but the good news is now that I'm fully engaged in every single aspect of this. And before I was, delegating a lot to her. And this has been about 2 or 3 weeks now. So for me to come into the picture, has been exciting because I built my career. I have an 8th grade education. My parents didn't give me money. I became very financially successful because I understood hard work. But more importantly, I was able to go into people's car dealerships that were going broke and turn them around. And so I kind of feel like I'm doing that again. And to be doing that at my age, that I thought I'd be retired and playing golf. And so it's been super exciting to really build the team, bring it together, and really start making some changes to make the guest experience world class and 5-star, and where they can really transform physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. So I'm at a point in this job right now. I didn't plan on at 68 years old having a job that was full time, that didn't pay, and I couldn't quit. That wasn't my retirement plan. But I find myself here, and now I'm so excited because all of our, we have 30 employees here. We have 20 acres located 7,000 feet in the Andes Mountains with the most amazing, beautiful nature you could ever imagine. Scott's brother's been here. Noah, who helps produce your show, has been here. So they can attest to that. And so I think that's one of the things that makes us the most unique, healing resort in the world, because we bring in Western medicine, we bring in functional medicine, we bring in integrated medicine, we bring in Chinese medicine, we bring indigenous medicine, indigenous ceremonies. So, and we have everything from all the biohacking stuff, from biocharger to PEMF to salt therapy to red light therapy to exercise with oxygen therapy. We have a sauna we imported from Finland. We spend 15 minutes in there. It gets 180 degrees. We go jump in a 45-degree cold plunge or a 38-degree ice bath. We strengthen our mitochondria. It's firing at all levels. The immune system continues to grow. But what's really the most exciting thing for me is that, we're pretty much mostly cancer right now. We've had great success with fibromyalgia. We've had great success with MSC stem cells that we grow from the umbilical cord with the partnership with the National University of Colombia. Has been doing for 20 years. So we've had people come here. I had a woman just the other day. She'd been taking pain meds for 2 years. She had injections in her spine. She said, "Mike, this is the first time I haven't taken a pain pill in 2 years." The next 5 days before she left, she didn't take one. We had a woman with fibromyalgia, 35-year-old woman, 2 kids, sleeping 20 hours a day. Her life was ruined. Came here, spent a month, did another product that we have, which is unique to us, called Natural Killer Cells. And that's also a partnership with the National University of Colombia. And they've been growing those for 7 years, and primarily an oncologist have been growing them. So what he does, when you arrive here, the first thing we do is we take a bunch of your blood, then we give it to the scientists, and they separate the plasma from the natural killer cells. What are natural killer cells? Your immune system is made up of T cells, white blood cells, and natural killer cells. Natural killer cells go out through the body and kill anything that doesn't belong in the body. Cancer cells that have been mutated, dying cells, parasites, bacteria that doesn't belong, viruses don't belong. That's what they do. So we grow those for 3 weeks, yielding 400% more. And during those 3 weeks, we're putting you through all these detox protocols. We're a licensed medical facility. So we have IVs, we have hyperbaric chamber, we have colonics, we have massage, we have acupuncture. So a myriad of different things that detox the body. Then, as Michelle mentioned, we grow 75 different fruits and vegetables here in pure, clean soil with no chemicals, full of minerals. I believe that everybody in America, almost everybody, if not everybody, is dehydrated and demineralized because the soil there has been ruined and never rests. It's sprayed with chemicals like glyphosate, and it's really not good for us at all. And that's why the healthcare system there is overloaded. People are sick. People are obese. type 2 diabetes is blown up. So now they got another drug that you shoot to lose the weight, and then all the side effects of that drug. So it's kind of insane, if you will. But I'm super excited the success we're having with cancer patients. And for me, I'm just a former car salesman with an 8th grade education. But if you tell me that you can take some of my blood, grow my immune system 400% stronger, detox my body of heavy metals and parasites, give it great nutrition where I'm feeling amazing, and then put those natural killer cells into my body, that sure in my common sense little mind beats the hell out of putting a hole in my chest and filling it with poison every week. And so I saw that for 9 years with my wife. I saw that for 5 years with hundreds of women through my nonprofit foundation. And does it work once in a while? Yes. But what are the percentages? Do a deep dive. Figure it out. Look at the history. Where did it come from? How often does it work? And is it worth doing that as opposed to doing something natural? At the end of the day, in my wife's case, for example, I find a golf ball sized tumor in her breast. In reality, all we had to do was shrink that tumor and get rid of it. And there's, some people do it with their mind. Some people do it through meditation. Dr. Joe Dispenza is proving this now. So that's all we had to do. But she did 9 years of cancer treatment. And I really believe it was the cancer treatment that killed her. And it was a very, very ugly, devastating death. And so that's why I'm excited about Mountains Folk. Sorry for a long answer to a short question.
No, it's a fabulous answer to a question that deserves all of that and more of your knowledge and your wisdom. So thank you so much. Scott, I know you were going to jump in because you actually made a trip down as well.
I forgot Scott was there too.
Yeah, twice. A few days. I missed you the second time around. You were in the States. But yeah, so I firsthand did get to sink myself a little bit into what you have going on there. And I mean, yeah, you beautifully laid it out right there, what you guys are doing. And it is so palpable what's happening there, and the true integration of like ancient earth medicine wisdom with true cutting edge technology, like real non-harmful, non-toxic forms of electromedicine and things like that, integrated with indigenous medicines is, I mean, I agree with Michelle. Like there's no place I would suggest anybody else go right now if they're dealing with any really serious autoimmune situation, or definitely a dis-ease like cancer or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if anybody out there wants to get the way and work on anything within themselves, it's a place that I would go ahead and plug and say, yeah, I would recommend considering it.
Well, that was one of the things that Scott and I were talking about, Mike, and with some of our clients is, we've been talking, unfortunately, we all know in America that this conversation comes up way too often, right? Like multiple times in a week. Like somebody is sick. Oh, this is going on. Oh, that's going on. And unfortunately, for reasons that we're not going to get into, again, do your own deep dive, but it's only going to be exponentially increasing, as it already is. I have a friend who just dropped dead in her sister's kitchen out of the blue from a stroke, never sick a day in her life, healthy enough. And I want to correct this, y'all, because when we did our last episode and it was a memorial tribute to Brenda, I just want our listeners to know that she actually saved 4 people's lives. She donated to 4 people. Kidneys were healthy enough, liver was healthy enough, and through organ tissue, she was able to help someone else, a 4th person's life. So this was my friend out of the blue, took no medicine, never sick a day in her life. However, there was something that she might have done that people may or may not have chosen to do for themselves. That's the only thing. And I'm just going to leave it that ambiguous or that specific for whoever's listening. Y'all know how to take that or not. Either way is better. And she just had a stroke, a massive stroke out of the blue, and dropped dead in her sister's kitchen, essentially went brain dead. And these things are coming up way too often because I feel like I've been talking about Mountains of Hope so much with my friends and my clients that we've now had people say, like, Michelle, can we do a retreat, like for those of us that are healthy? And I'm like, absolutely, that's something that we can talk to Mike and, facilitate, because preventatively, like what you were just talking about, Mike, like the care of the body that and this is like our home for our soul, right? Like this is like our home, while we're here, right? Some people call it the meat suit. I, as a Cancerian, believe this is a sacred home. Um, I truly think that in this sacred home, if we can preventatively, like I just had a solar return, and at 57, I feel better than I did when I was 37 or 27. And for those of you that listen, and for those of you that know me, I've been through some shift physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And every single thing that Mike was talking about and that Scott was talking about outside of the NK killer cells, which is like selfishly why I want to come to Mountains of Hope, I have had to put together in some way, shape, or form. And when I hear people immediately say to me, my dad has this, my friend has this, my husband has this, my wife has this, my sister, my brother, my best friend, I'm just like, y'all, you need to look at this. And the difference, I haven't spent much time in Colombia and Medellin, but I spent a little bit of time. And I have a very, 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 very close family friend who lives there, and I know a little bit about the culture, just again, a few times, but spending time in Central and South America. What I would say a major difference is between America and Colombia right now, besides the obvious, the air, the water, the soil, which is huge. We have politicized health and wellness to a point that is not even just industry or dollar driven. I believe that it's actually driven in very nefarious ways that health should never, ever, ever be approached from. And that, to me, when people have asked me, Michelle, why did you seek treatment out of the country? Why did you do? And it was because I needed to know that there were things available that either team, the blue team, the red team, the purple team, the green team, I don't even know all the damn teams because I've never been on one of those teams in my whole voting career. There were things that people would talk to me about that just seemed perfectly normal for them in a quote unquote third world country that is off limits here. And I say all of this because we're watching a lot of people that think that they've nurtured their bodies. They think that they're going to a fine restaurant, right? They think that they're going to a place where the food isn't loaded with glyphosate, or a grocery store. And they believe, honestly, like, I'm taking care of myself. I get a massage. I get non-toxic, nail polish. I use henna on my hair. I don't these are just examples. And then when you look a little bit deeper and you start to see some of the quote unquote cures, like what Mike was just talking about with his wife, the cure, which didn't cure her, it killed her. And I don't say this, oh, wait, we lost you, bro. Speak. Your mic. Oh, nuts.
Yeah. I was just saying, I like how Mike called it treatment, not cure, because it was the opposite of a cure.
It was the opposite of a cure. There is no cure
Yeah.
still. Like, just go and ask somebody what cancer is. Ask people that simple question. What's cancer? I have my own theory. I'm sure Mike has a very informed theory. Scott, I know you do. But we can't seem to get that answer. And so, like, degrees of inflammation in the body, like, they begin in very benign ways, But when I see 25-year-olds, like people like my son's age, that come in that have already experienced inflammation from in utero, in their home, right? Their new home that they're coming into to house their souls. And they have that. And I sit in front of 25-year-olds that say, Michelle, why do you seem healthier than me? And you're old enough to be my mom. So this information, we never say it to like scare. It's always to inform, right? Like none of this is to set people's pulses like freaking out. Like if you are somebody that has received quote unquote Western treatment, traditional treatment, which I don't even know what that means because indigenous medicine to me is the traditional treatment that's been around from the dawn of time with plants. But don't freak out. If it worked for you, yes. Because the belief in our healing, right, and how we feel about it is probably like one of the most important things. But to know that there's a space and a place where your home can be cared for, where you actually feel like you're at home, but better, right? Like without all of the triggers and the people and the things we were talking about before the show, you know? This is just to me, and I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about the message getting out there, which is why I talk about this a lot with people, because just resetting our beliefs around this and what's possible. Somebody doesn't get to tell you when you're going to die.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love the informed element of what you're talking about, because beyond being informed is being empowered. That's the name of our show, right? So like to be informed is to be empowered. And then that does allow us to make those changes from the inside out. And it's also, I think it's a nice segue that you're talking about beliefs, and we're talking about this Cancer season with Jupiter being in Cancer right now. And Jupiter is about belief systems and renovating them and reinventing them. And Jupiter really expands anything that's happening. So as we're moving through Cancer, and that is all about emotional intelligence that you mentioned. So what it's going to do is actually wherever you're at in that state, it's going to expand it. So it's going to be wind in the sails. If you're tapping and breaking through into a higher state of emotional intelligence, like right now, it's going to just really be expanded. Mm-hmm. If you're struggling with it, it might expand that a little too. It might expand your challenge with it right now. But again, information is empowerment. So we know that. We know that's what we're experiencing in the Cancer season. And I think that's a good way to segue into what is the creation frequency?
Yes.
Because to me, the essence of existence, of the universe, if I think about two things, what does it always do? Over and over, it creates and it expands, right? So, Mike, can you elaborate on that? Are we talking about the frequency of the universe? Are we trying to get harmonious with that when we're talking creation frequency? Because that is what the universe does over and over. When we get there, then we expand and we become more emotionally intelligent.
Yeah. So
lay it down.
I'll tell you what creation frequency is to me. It's a name. It's a title. I came up for a name of a book that stems from an encounter I had in 1982 with a man when my life was totally screwed up. So I'm 24-year-old guy, divorced with a 2-year-old daughter, 8th grade education, no credit but bad credit, no money, working as a waiter, no hope. And I'm in a 12-step program. And a buddy says to me, hey, I've never met anybody as messed up as you, but I might know somebody that can help you. And so he introduced me to a gentleman that was a recovering alcoholic. And his name was Doug. I know that now. I didn't know it when I wrote the book, so I call him the mystery man. But I did some deep dive to figure out who he much later in my life, after I became very successful, who he was and what he was teaching and where it came from. And so long story short, I show up at his house and he says, Mike, if you come here 1 hour a week for 7 weeks, I promise you'll get everything you want in your life. And I looked at the house, it wasn't that nice. I looked at the furniture, it really wasn't that nice. There was nothing special about his clothes. And he says it's $50 a week, and I didn't have 50 cents. But fortunately, back in those days, we had an invention called the checkbook. And you give a guy a piece of paper, and then he would give you something in return. So I wrote him a bad check to start this process. And so he goes, okay, number one, you have to have a balanced life. So we're going to break your life into 6 areas. So, you have career, you have money, you have relationships, you have spirituality, you have contribution, all these kind of things, right? So he said, each week, we're going to take one area of your life and we're going to write a powerful intention as if it already exists, because there's no difference between imagination and reality. He says, okay, what do you want most in your life? Well, I had walked out on my wife and my 2-month-old baby, because that's what I did. I was a habitual runaway. When things got tough, I ran away. And my parents would always take me back, but this particular woman didn't. And she ended up hating my guts, and now we're divorced. And I say to the mystery man, I say, I want my wife and my daughter back. He goes, okay, let's write an intention as if it already exists. Okay. So here I am at this man's kitchen table writing, Lisa and I are so happily married. Now she hates my guts. Okay. Our daughter, Michelle, thrives in this marriage. But as I'm writing this, I'm going, this is great. And then all of a sudden I got just a little inkling of hope. And I kept writing. And I only wrote 1 or 2 paragraphs. Next week, Mike, what do you want? I want to make $10,000 a week or a month. $10,000 a month. I was making $1,500. What do you want next? I want to own my own house. What do you want next? I want to own my own business. What do you want next? I want to run a marathon. What do you want next? It has to be contribution. Well, my dad had a troubled childhood. I had a troubled childhood. We'll make a home for troubled youth. Week 7 is the magic sauce. So week 7, I show up. I've already written out 6 intentions, just on a little white piece of the paper, 2 paragraphs in pencil, nothing fancy. Week 7, he brings out a boom box. And he puts in a cassette tape with theta brainwave music on it. Yeah. Then he hands me a microphone attached to a tape recorder, and he puts in a blank cassette tape. Then he hands me a relaxation script about 2 pages long. And he says, well, I play the theta brainwave music. I want you to read the relaxation script into the microphone and read your 6 intentions. So I do all this. He pops out the cassette tape, what was blank, and now has my 6 intentions. He says, now listen to this every morning, right when you wake up, and listen to it every night, right before you go to bed. Now, I didn't understand why I was doing any of this stuff, okay? Didn't have a clue, okay? But I just followed the simple instructions. Within 4 months, I owned my own business. Within I think 2 years, the ex-wife calls me up and asks me to escort her to a Christmas party. We get remarried, have 3 more beautiful children. We already had 1. I've owned many houses, as much as $4 million. I've owned my own business almost ever since. I popped my Achilles at 20 miles in the marathon. Okay. And instead of a place for boys home, I did have I started with a place for cancer in Oakland, which led to a place for troubled youth in Oakland. And now we have Mountains of Hope. So that's my contribution. But the point is this: everything in your physical reality started as a thought or intention and a desire and an emotion, everything. And so when we learn to control this and we understand how this world, this field of infinite possibilities works, we become a powerful creator. I deal here every day with sick people. I take phone calls that would just make you cry for hours of how much suffering people are going through. And what happens is we eventually become a victim. And once we become a victim, we are screwed because we have no more power. We've given our power away and we're subject to everything else. But the truth is that we are not this body. This is a temple. This is a vessel. And it houses this powerful soul that came from singularity into this realm of duality. That's how this was created, because you can't have good without evil. You can't have black without white. You can't have hot without cold. So this is just a freaking video game, okay? We came from eternity, singularity. We came into this body through the crown chakra. That's why a baby's crown is always so soft. And we will exit through that same chakra when we leave here. The question is, did you do everything you were supposed to do while you were here? Or did you learn what you were supposed to learn while you were here? And if you did, I believe when you leave this body, this time you'll go to a higher frequency. When we're not in an animal body, we're in a light body. And where we don't have duality, we communicate telepathically. So we know exactly what's going on. And so we get along. Humanity needs to come together. We are connected. And if we don't come together, in unity and integrity and responsibility, we're going to cease to exist. There is a game plan to enslave us, and it's happening right now. And I could get into all that, but I'm not, because they'll freak everybody out. But we need to get strong physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And that's what I love about Mountains of Hope. Every night we do MOH Presents, which is education. And we gather together as a family, and we love and we support one another. And all 30 employees here at Mountains of Hope, the Colombian people are beautiful, loving, sweet, kind people. And I always say, come to Mountains of Hope. I really believe that nature alone can heal you, because nature is the frequency and energy of God, the creator of everything. And I really believe that the love of our doctors, our nurses, our cooks, our staff, our maids can help to heal you. So something in your environment gets you sick, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. And what we've created here is an environment where people can come and get in touch with their soul again, reconnect with source, clean up any emotional wounds and trauma, rewire these neural pathways, and gently move from this insane asylum back into their true self, their heart and their soul. And then when you live from here, you can use this supercomputer to manifest the life of your dreams, like the mystery man taught me. But we need help. And so we get stuck in these ruts, or we get these terrible diagnoses, and we can't find our way out. And that's why the beautiful thing about Mountains of Hope, you come here and right away you're blown away by the beauty and the nature. And then right away you're blown away by the quality of the food. And then right away you're blown away by the love of our staff. And then all of our medical procedures, all of our testing. And there's nothing like this in the world. And people are coming here and they're connecting to source, and they're healing themselves. We don't heal anybody here. If you're going to heal, if you come here and you're going to heal, it's up to you and God. It's none of our business. Okay. But we're going to do every damn thing we can to support you in that healing journey, or in that transformational journey, or getting out of that anxiety, or getting out of that depression. Whatever you're dealing with, we're going to give you every resource we have, and we'll search for other resources. We found $20,000 medicines for patients here and got it to them for free. So whatever you're dealing with, we're going to pour everything we can into you. And outside of here, we're going to look outside. What can we do to help this person? And people are coming here and people are healing. And by the way, you can never die. Okay. So if you have a bad diagnosis, and if you're on death's door, you can never die. You are eternal, timeless consciousness. You are spirit, and the body is made of 50 trillion cells, individual living conscious cells working together to create a vessel for my soul. So I'm not my body. I'm not my thoughts. So who am I? I'm the observer of all this stuff. Okay. I'm the commander of all this. I am the creator of all this. And if any one of us, any of us four, anybody watching or listening, if you were ceased to exist energetically, it all collapses. You can't have one without the other. There's only one source of energy, and we're all tied into it. So if one of us gets out, it all collapses. And so that's what we have to understand. We're all in this together, and they got us fighting over everything. Okay. I mean, gay, straight, Christian, Muslim, black, white. I mean, it goes on. And then the subcultures. Okay. We'll take the gay and we'll go to transgender, and let's just keep them divided. And we're all in this together, and they are ruining our home of Earth, and they're ruining our bodies, and they're programming our minds to believe shit that's not true, and we're getting sick. And so it's time to stop this and to find a solution and share that solution and to help one another.
And Mike, that's wow. And so creation frequency, so like to just bring a little bit of an epiphany astrologically into what you're just saying, I believe the way we can now, as the Aquarian Age is dawning upon us, when there are multiple realities really existing at once, two different wavelengths we can tune into, the way we can, I mean, we do actually have an opportunity to not live in that timeline, frequency, tuned in zone where all that duality and oppression is happening. We can tune our frequency separately, do something different, and experience in a completely different Earth experience.
Mhm.
So like the opportunity is nigh, like right now to do that.
It's happening right now, and
Yeah.
there is I like to look at it like this. There's people falling deeper and deeper asleep. Okay, and
Mhm.
pandemic brought that to light. I think a lot of BS was revealed, and a lot of truths became known to us, the lay people, and people are waking up. But it's very, very low. But as more people wake up, consciousness is rising, and
Mhm.
the consciousness of love and service to one another, and that's the game. There's allegedly 8 billion people here, and if 4 billion of us would lift up someone less fortunate, all this evil bullshit would collapse and we would create heaven back on earth. But we got to unite. The power is in the unity. And so, and you talk about the creation frequency again, let me just add one more thing. When I've created those powerful intentions, and I've attached a lot of love and service and gratitude and compassion to them, the heart is the magnet. So the intention is the thought. Everything is vibrating a certain frequency. Tesla told us this.
That's right.
In the universe, it's energy vibrating a certain frequency. Thoughts are energy. And there's low vibrational thoughts and there's high vibrational thoughts. Okay. So I put these high vibrational thoughts into the field of infinite possibilities where it meets up with other high frequency thoughts. So all of a sudden, my intention for a moment, the right thought shows up, the right person, the right teacher, the right book, the right funding, whatever. But the emotion, the feeling, when I'm vibrating at this feeling of freaking gratitude and love, the heart becomes a magnet. So in the field of infinite possibilities, I see what I'm trying to manifest, but the magnet is the heart, and the emotion of the higher the emotion, like love and gratitude, brings it back into 3D reality. And so we also are surrounded by a light body, a etheric field. And everybody knows that you can prove this. This isn't BS, right? But
Yeah.
I believe the glitch happens in the light body. So you have to understand, we're
Mhm.
operating in 1% of all frequencies. The frequency of light is where we live. Right here is the field of infinite possibility. Right here. And we just can't access it. Dogs can hear things in there that we can't. Some people can see spirits and ghosts that we can't. But so the field of infinite possibilities, as Dr. Joe calls it, the Bible calls it ether. Nikola Tesla called it plasma. The Chinese called chi. The Indians called prana. But this is power right here. I want to tap into this, and so the light comes through the crown all the way down the chakras, out the base root chakra into the earth, and it creates a torrid field of this light body. And so what Dr. Joe teaches, and when we can get out of the mind, out of the body, and into the field, and we can fix the glitch there. So I can see the healed body right there. I can feel the healed body right here. And then I just manifest it here. Now, does it happen overnight? No. Okay. It takes time and practice. And that's part of the problem. You know, we live in a microwave society and everybody wants everything now. Okay. And now, I mean, listen, there's a Ozempic. I mean, I have a daughter that takes it, right? And she lost a lot of weight. But there are so many side effects to this, you know, and I know people are losing lots of weight, which is helping their diabetes, but down the road, this is going to be a disaster. And so we have to pay attention to what's going on and what we put into our body. You mentioned your friend that had the stroke. We have to be very, very careful what we put in our body. I mean, we were putting vaccines in our body and the insert was blank, no ingredients. Okay. And so we have to use a little common sense, and we have to quit blindly trusting the system, and we have to go back. We have to open our third eye, our pineal gland, our intuition. We need to connect to source. We need to ask really good questions. How can I heal? The answers will come, but we got to stay present. And you mentioned earlier, Michelle, we need to be in our body. The mind is a dangerous place. As you said,
It's a very dangerous place.
we have to get into the body, and we have to realize that we are worthy. Okay. The worst mistake any of us have ever made in our life is believing a thought that wasn't true, that caused us to take an action that didn't serve us. But that's the worst thing you can ever be found guilty of, is believing a thought that's not true. And so we need to forgive ourselves, realize that almost everybody I meet was born into some dysfunctional family, whether one or two parents or both, and we've been damaged, and we need to heal from that. Because what I see here, the people that come here and don't heal, they can't let go of this story. You know, this happened way back when, but just it keeps going, or they can't go in here open it and
That's it.
learn to love from him.
Yeah.
These are
That's
the
it.
teacher amounts of hope too. And we're fortunate to have this nature and this food because it forces people's emotion to rise. And now we can start dealing with them. I mean, they just start talking, okay, because of the food and the detox and the nature. And so now we can get in there and do the heavy lifting.
And it's
Yeah.
because of the feeling that they have, right? They feel at peace. They feel like they're in a heart-centered, soul-aligned environment that was prepared for them. So they feel worthy because why? Worth is surrounding them. And then they can start to digest it within to them. Because most of us, right, self-worth and our feelings. Like I'm a hypnotherapist. I've done, thousands of sessions. And the depth of which this cancer season for me, and by the way, Scott, I don't know if you addressed this, my brother, but the Jupiter transit, right, is for 12 months now. So everybody better get comfortable, like in expanding their nurturing of themselves, their nourishment, their feelings, the awareness of that, creating home, whatever home looks like, relationships, family, and these are the cornerstones of healing as well, which I find very intriguing as an 11-degree Cancerian whose whole life is based on the integrity of health and healing of the body. But my own self-worth and my own feelings, and you know this, bro, because we've had some conversation about this. When my friend passed, I was experiencing grief and I knew that my vibration was going really low. And I was being very consumed by this. And the choice was, okay, wait, I can hold this feeling of grief alongside absolute love and joy and health and happiness. I can hold ambiguity in there and not knowing how I'm going to feel sometimes. Like this whole feeling things. And as Americans, we have become very heady. And we had Dr. Chris Niebauer on last week. And what Dr. Niebauer was talking about is that thinking is really recent. It's like a really recent thing. Like in the last 100 years, we've had time to kind of think for the first time. And so feelings and the feeling that people have when they're having that nourishment of their food, that feeling that there are resources, that there are people that are committed, as opposed to being a number moving through a herd, right? Like these are all things that during this Jupiter in Cancer transit, like they matter. Like cancers really give a shit about the details, which is why these flowers are sitting here to the right of me. It's why those candles are sitting behind me. It's why the sage is burning. It's why my water is sitting here, my structured water, right, with my amethyst and my diamond and my quartz in it. Like these kinds, we're known for being like the host with the most or the hostess with the mostest because we want to do for people. And what I really want to invite us to all do is to treat ourselves like we're the guest and we're the host. Like that's been my big aha. It's like, wow, I really can be a guest of mine. Supposed to just having guests. And I know for other people out there, that seems really like, duh, what a blonde moment, right? Like blonde out of the bottle, moment number 3,675, but no, it's been a real aha that we can actually serve ourselves and be in service. And I think that Jupiter is inviting us into that with the belief system, the expansion. And anybody that knows a Sag, I'm sorry, but they take pretty damn good care of themselves. It's how they get around in the world like they do, for the most part. But I say all this to say that a lot of the dis-ease that we have is from unprocessed, unfiltered, undigested emotion and feelings that we have suppressed. And I know that we have listeners now in 25 countries. You like that, bro? I just dropped that here. In,
Yeah.
in 25 countries. And at the same time, though, I know from traveling the globe that we in America think that we're going to think our way
Yeah.
out of shit.
Yeah, it's
We
like the classic
feel
putting
our
the
way.
cart before the horse. I think we're
Yes.
doing that. I mean, it's like that is just like it is like not the way to travel. You know,
Yeah.
because when we the other way around does, like you were talking about, Mike, allow it to be more of an observer, a supercomputer, an accomplice, and then we're able to like open that complete flow to the feelings and the emotions being our wisdom, like the galactic wisdom. It's even come to me, and I think like a lot of people now are agreeing and feeling and seeing that like our ascended masters or what, spirits, angels, guides, they actually, the way they read or communicate with us is not by our vocabulary, not what we're saying, not what's in our minds. They're actually reading our auric, our heart energy and frequency, like what we're putting out emotionally. Our frequency is how they communicate to us, with
Mhm.
us, from us, off of us, how they interact in that way. Nothing to do with what's going up here at all.
That's right. That's right, bro.
Nothing in the mind, in the brain.
Yeah. No, that's really interesting because, like when we were at the Unite the Light, all of us at the Unite the Light conference, and there were, the galactic kind of folks that were talking about why they kind of even observe Earth School. And it's because of the range of emotion and creation ability that we have here, right? And what's so interesting is that our light is what they see.
Mhm.
That's the observable thing,
Yeah, the light body. Yeah,
the light body.
the ring.
And so, in all of this, like the light body, our home, and I know many people associate Virgo, with the body. And for me, I think that shifting, since Jupiter is in Cancer now in this year-long transit, that we can actually shift our belief about that. That it's not just Virgo, nourishment. Like what we're putting in is what we become.
Yeah.
And so what you thinking, bro? Because I smell the smoke from over here.
Yeah. No, well, that tracks completely to me with the South Node being in Virgo right now. It means
Yes.
that we need to move away from that old relationship with Virgo and what it was, its definitions and that kind of thing, like, and move out of it, so it being such a only physical thing, and more into the light body, like the frequency, the auric energy, the creation things that we've been talking about. So that tracks completely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what Mike was saying about like we can never die, right?
Mhm.
So I did a little experiment this weekend, and it was about raising my vibration. So there I was, full on mermaid mode. It's my birthday. Salt water, it's swimming, it's sunshine here. It's actually blue skies. And I'm just like, yay. And Scott, this is becoming like habit, these confessionals now, like on the podcast. So this is like I was thinking about when I was still thinking before Dr. Niebauer was on. I was feeling like I wanted this gigantic copper pyramid to meditate in. Right. So I was
Sign
like,
me up.
yes, see, bro, it's like the more out there, you're like, I'm in. So I was like, okay, well, these are really big, right? And I was like, pragmatically, like, where is this going to be happening? So I thought that I would start out with a little smaller version. So I found this guy in England who makes, oh my God, this is a tinfoil hat moment. He makes these copper pyramids that kind of like sit on your head. It's like a tinfoil hat, but a copper pyramid. And I wanted to raise my vibration because there had been a butterfly that was really like circling around. And I thought that it was my friend Brenda, right? That transitioned. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit, I'm going to meditate out. I'll be honest, the pyramid only sat on my head through like 15, 20 minutes. And I was like, oh my God, if anybody sees this, like they're going to be like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, I need to go inside and do this. So, but I wanted to be outside because I wanted the butterfly. And I'm not proud of this, but I'll make deals with God. Like, God, if I can raise my vibration high enough, could you just give me a sign and let the butterfly land on me? Like, please. Like, I'm just really trying here. And I was very aware of my feelings. Sure enough, that darn butterfly, I've got 6 shots of it on my arm. And it came and she landed and she sat with me and I looked at her and I was like, I have to photograph you. I took my phone, I photographed her because I wanted to not only capture like the butterfly, but I wanted to capture the vibe that was there, that I know the way. I have awareness based on my feeling, my heart. That's the barometer, right? And then the third eye helps me to know that my alignment with my barometer is correct. And then you can actually, for me, I'm a feeler. I'm very clairkinesthetic. So I can actually feel my fields when it kind of like, almost like a lotus, like it'll open. You know, there's tons of mud in there too, y'all. Like I'm not, you know, but that happens. And to me, it was like helping me to understand my internal landscape in transition, even in grief, right? Like even in grief, there I was able to do this. And so like, if I can do this, anybody can do this. Right? It's just our feelings. Scott, you're going to be laughing at me. This is going to be like a phone call after the podcast or text messages. You're like, I've been waiting for her to say this for years. Our feelings are our most important things. Proud of me?
Yeah.
Thanks, bro. I'm there. It's not many of us, you know, dis-ease, right? Like Mike was saying, like none of us, you know, come from these really like functional homes. Like many of us like come from maybe you had one parent, maybe you had no parents, you know. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Empowerment Unleashed Now. Please subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform and let us know how this helped you.
Join us right here every week for another episode.